My name is Brent Baum, and I am not only your favorite contrarian, I'm the only contrarian, and I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. And that's right, I am back to discuss Kyrie Irving and the type of year that he is having. It doesn't surprise me at all. I've always been an advocate to say that Kyrie Irving is a better player than Stephen Curry, just for the simple fact that he's more efficient. He actually makes the players around him better. He's a better defensive player, and he's just the type of player that I'd rather have on my team in clutch situations. So, you look at the year he's having, 22 points, 5 assists, leading the Celtics to 16 straight wins, had a 47-point performance the other night against the Mavericks, truly led that surge when it appeared that the game was over, and he's just been clutch all year round. He really has played well with Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. They have a great chemistry, and it's more impressive the fact that he's doing this all without Gordon Hayward. The Celtics season, a lot of people were saying they had no chance against the Cavaliers. Now that once Gordon Hayward went down with the ankle injury, but you can see right now, Kyrie Irving has shown that he is here to stay and that he is a franchise player. I've been saying that for a long time. He is a franchise player. He's better than Kyrie Irving. He just makes players around him better. He's more efficient. He's more clutch. And during this stretch, he's had very impressive wins against the Golden State Warriors, the world champion Golden State Warriors, the Spurs. Even though no Kawhi Leonard, but the Spurs are still a good team. Look at the fact that he beat OKC, Westbrook, and George, and Carmelo, and those guys. And then he beat the Bucks. And the only two losses they had this year were against the Cavaliers and the Bucks, ironically. So you see that the Celtics are a very good team, and Brad Stevens has really gotten them to play defense. They held the Golden State Warriors to 88 points in that game. And this is the team that leads the NBA in scoring. And the fact that Kyrie Irving, the fact that Stephen Curry was only held to 9 points, 3 for 14 from shooting in that game, you just see what Brad Stevens has really put into the guys on the Celtics. He's letting Kyrie Irving lead the team, and he's emphasized the importance of defense. The bigger reason why he was such a great coach at Butler, while the teams in Butler got to two national championship game appearances. So you see what Brad Stevens is doing with those guys. You look at what Danny Ainge has done with the Celtics, all the different moves he has made, most notably to acquire Kyrie Irving and then draft Jason Tatum with the 3rd overall pick. And not only that, acquire an additional pick from the Sixers. So I've been saying this for a while. You look at what Danny Ainge is doing with the Celtics and the way how he is playing chess with the NBA GMs, making a litany of moves, just so they can acquire more assets and more picks. It's very similar to the Sam Hinkie motto of you got to collect these assets, you got to trust the process. Well, that's what it's about. It's always about collecting assets. You look at when the Celtics in the 2007, 2008, around that range, when they made the move to acquire Kevin Garnett, acquire Ray Allen, so that Paul Pierce would stay in Boston. They won a championship with those trades, and then they had some years where they started to fall off the ship. And as they started to hit that point where they started to decline, Danny Ainge was very swift and made a blockbuster trade, trading Garnett, Terry, and Pierce for additional draft picks from the Brooklyn Nets. And you see where they're at right now. So Danny Ainge always appears to be thinking ahead of the game. He's not just a GM who thinks short term. Some of these GMs think short term. He's thinking long term. He's thinking 5 and 8, 10 years down the road. So that's why the Celtics, and Danny Ainge, he played with Larry Bird and McHale and Parrish and during those great Celtics dynasties. So he was always around that type of leadership in the organization in the Celtics, what it takes to be a championship winner. But when you look at this year, I do think that Kyrie Irving is definitely in the running for an MVP this year. And it's just no surprises. It's no surprises at all. And I know earlier in the year, Kevin Garnett made a comment that Kyrie Irving is better than Allen Iverson. And I'm not ready to say that yet, but I will say, Kyrie Irving, he will be better than Allen Iverson when his career is all said and done. You look at it right now, Kyrie Irving, he has a better handle than Allen Iverson. He's a better shooter than Allen Iverson. He makes the players around him better than Allen Iverson. As great of a scorer as Allen Iverson was, and a lot of this criticism that people throw at Kyrie Irving, the reality is Allen Iverson, he never really made the players around him better. The one player I will say that he did make better is Aaron McKie. Aaron McKie, the one year the Sixers got to the finals in 2001, Aaron McKie did win a 6-man award. But Allen Iverson just never made players around him better. And he had players around him, such as Chris Webber. I don't care if Chris Webber was older, but it was Chris Webber. He had Iguodala. He had Lou Williams. He had John Salmons. He had a lot of guys actually on his team. He had Jim Jackson dating back to when Allen Iverson was young. Jerry Stackhouse. He had a plethora of guys around him. It's just players did not want to play with someone who took so many shots. And the Sixers organization with Pat Croce were very well aware that this was Iverson's team and he was going to take over. But I think that with the Celtics this year, you see Kyrie Irving, he's not taking 30 shots. He's not scoring 30 points. He's scoring less points this year than he did last year. Last year he had 25 points. This year, 23 points. But he's still at an MVP caliber because he's making the players around him better with what he has. And that's, to me, a player who has that ability to adapt. And that's when you take your game to a superstar level. Kyrie Irving is clutch. The year that the Cavs won the finals, yes, LeBron James was the MVP, but Kyrie Irving was the guy. He was the driving force in clutch situations. He hit that game winner in the wing against Stephen Curry in Game 7 in 2016. So Kyrie Irving, I think that he's just an underrated player. And he's not a selfish player. He's a very unselfish player. I think that he's had that stigma that it's about him and that you can't play with this guy. He's not a leader. But he's shown this year that he is a leader. And it doesn't matter whether he has his mask on, where he has his black mask, no mask. Kyrie Irving is playing at an MVP level. And I think Kyrie Irving really should be wearing that black mask. That's what he should be wearing. I love the black mask. I think earlier, one of the games, when he actually did wear the black mask a couple of years back, he had 54 points, I believe. So Kyrie Irving, he just continues to adapt, continues to play at a high level. It wouldn't surprise me if you do see, I mean, it's not even a surprise. At this point, it's probably going to be Cavs, Celtics, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Don't think they'll get to the finals yet. Still think that they need Gordon Hayward, but the kind of year that Kyrie Irving is having, there's no argument for that. And whether you want to admit it or not, Kyrie Irving, he's on the verge of being better than Allen Iverson for the reasons I explained. And that's all I have to say about that. I rest my case.